if you saw him, you were mesmerized. So fast, so skilled, and so young. Garry Templeton made you watch. In St. Louis, the beginning was brilliant, but the ending was awful. Tonight, with the help of editor Tom Stasiak, we give you the Garry Templeton story.
Garry Templeton, boy, you're looking at a kid who has got superstar stamped all over him.
If there's one word to describe Garry Templeton, it's confidence.
And he's got thoughts about third base, and he will make it.
Like what he said as a 17-year-old to the Angels pitching staff when he was working in the clubhouse.
I just told all of them it was Nolan Ryan, Rudy May, Bill Singer, Frank Tanana, all these guys were there, and I told them, I said, I'll hit you guys right now.
Ground ball, scooped up by Templeton.
Or what he told Cardinal veteran players when they met for the first time in person.
And the Cardinals was right after the draft, was playing the Dodgers. So they brought me into the clubhouse and they introduced me as the #1 draft pick, blah, blah, blah. And I just told them, I said, I'll see you guys soon. And Ted Simmons got a kick out of it and gave me his hat. And I kept his hat all them years.
Or how about what he said at the baseball writers' dinner after one of his all-star seasons?
Yeah, I told him, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Line drive, right field, base hit.
And then there was his most famous quote in 1979 about playing in the All-Star game. If I ain't starting, I ain't departing. Truth be told, Jack Buck actually said it.
Jack asked me if I was going to the All-Star game. I said, no, I'm not going. And he said, if you ain't starting, you ain't departing. And I said, yes. And the next thing I know, it's national news. But it was a great, it's a great quote.
Yeah, anytime you can use a Jack Buck quote, that's good stuff.
Yeah, Jack was a great guy. Jack was awesome. Every time I seen him, he would always say, ooh, that quote's pretty great, ain't it? I said, yeah. We always played around with it.
Very few shortstops in baseball history have ever begun a career like Templeton. We're talking nearly 600 hits in his first 3 years.
There's a line drive into right center.
How about 50 triples in those first 3 seasons? Alex Rodriguez had 31 for his career.
Templeton will end up at third with a triple.
And as a 23-year-old, he became the first to ever get 100 hits from each side of the plate.
Garry Templeton, the batter.
Did that surprise you that you made it look so easy?
No, it didn't surprise me because I knew when I was healthy, I knew what I could do. I studied Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, Roberto Clemente. I studied those guys hitting. And my father, he was always just keep it simple, put the bat on the ball. So I knew that all I had to do was put the bat on the ball, and with my speed, things would work out for me. So I wasn't surprised because I knew I've had a lot of success even as a young kid, and just being simple and watching some of the better players hit the ball.
But a funny thing happened to Templeton on his way to becoming a Cardinal legend. He never got there. August 26, 1981. After striking out in the first, this happened.
I ran the first, but I didn't run hard. Next thing I know, they were throwing stuff at me.
Umpire Bruce Fremming first gave Templeton a warning. More boos came, and then another obscene gesture.
And I told him, leave the people alone, that the next time that if he did make a gesture, if he made another one, he'd be ejected. And he said, well, then you might as well eject me right now.
And after he was ejected while going to the dugout, Templeton heard this.
Razor slurs. They was calling me MF and the N-word and everything right there. It was right there where you stand on deck.
Manager Whitey Herzog pulled him off the field.
We had a little scuffle, but there's no ball player that's big enough to show up to fans and do the obscene gestures that he was doing. When Garry grows up to be a man and publicly apologizes to our fans and to his teammates, he could come back to play.
My teammates heard it, but nobody never came to my defense.
Templeton was traded to San Diego for Ozzie Smith, and although the Cardinals won that trade, Templeton continued to thrive.
Curve, line, center field, on comes James, base hit.
He had over 2,000 hits, and he became one of the great Padres of all time and ended up in their Hall of Fame, but not the one in Cooperstown where Ozzie is. A chronic knee issue, which required 7 surgeries, took away some of his explosiveness. and he will forever be connected with Ozzie.
Did you two ever sit down and have a conversation one day,
All
go
the
to
time.
dinner, talk about the trade and stuff?
No, we never really talked about the trade. We just talked about watching each other play, how we admired one another's play, you know, because he admired my play and, you know, I admired the way he played.
After 16 years as a manager in the minor leagues, Templeton retired. On this day, this 70-year-old man was signing autographs for St. Louis sports collectors at Orlando Gardens.
What would you want somebody to say about Garry Templeton's career?
Well, he had fun, played the game, played hard, and he had tons of fun playing out there.